Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Please enjoy this video on the Political Voices Network.
Okay. As I said to you, you need to start living in my house for America like a fireman, and just slide down the pole anytime there is a legal question. Is good morning. Okay.
Yeah, good morning, Steph.
You were saying your Jersey in you is coming out. We wish we could swear on this show.
Right.
So let's start with this Aileen Cannon because obviously, I mean, you tweeted, I'm trying not to get too happy clappy about the chances of removal, but you said Jack Smith literally and figuratively lays down the law. The disqualification bucket runneth over, and it's time for a motion to remove Trump-appointed Judge Aileen Cannon from presiding over a case involving a defendant to whom she owes her job. And you said Jack Smith tells Trump-appointed Judge Cannon, your legal premise is wrong, threatens to appeal her lawless jury instructions because, hashtag,
Justice matters.
Justice matters. Yes, that was my point. Talk to us about this. So I obviously on the surface it looked like a loss for Trump that she, obviously dismissed his ridiculous, can you just, make this all go away? But she obviously just said, oh, just at pretrial. So at trial, she could rule for him and ostensibly acquit, right? And then it's too late. The jury's in panel. Just talk to us about this whole. Yeah.
Exactly, Steph. You think it's a tell that Donald Trump praises his appointee, Judge Cannon, after she denies his motion to throw his case out, she praises him. Why? Yeah. Because what she did was far more damaging, right? First, she gives these two ridiculous jury instructions that have no basis in the law to Jack Smith and Trump's attorneys and said, I want you to assume these are correct formulations of the law and, quote, engage in a discussion. Jack said, okay, I'll engage. You're wrong. They're lawless. They're not correct formulations of the law. And we demand you make a decision on this now, because now, if you rule Donald Trump's way on these instructions, which basically direct the jury to find him not guilty, we can appeal it. But if you wait until after the jury is sworn and we're in trial, jeopardy has attached. And then if you give these instructions or you dismiss the case against Donald Trump, we can't appeal it.
Yeah.
So he fired back with the scorched earth court filing. And then what we get yesterday is this 2-page, I don't want to call it a court ruling. It's like a pamphlet of justice. There's nothing, Steph, there's nothing
a pastiche of
there's
notions.
No case law. There's no authority. There's nothing. But what she says is basically, oh, I know what you want me to do, Jack. Decide it now so you can appeal it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait until we're in trial when you can't appeal it. So yes, the disqualification cup runneth over, and it's time to file the motion to remove her from the case.
But, Glenn, we were talking about this before you got here, and we were saying that, obviously you hear all these different things, that it's risky, that, it's a very high bar to get someone removed. What is your take on that, and what should the timing be? Because, this looks, at this point, not like incompetence, but deliberate. Like that's deliberately what she's hoping to do is just dismiss this whole thing once it's too late to do anything about it.
Yeah, this is not plain incompetence. It's clearly incompetence when you see her issue these 2-page rulings. But I think it's worse. I think it's nefariousness. I think she's biased in favor of Trump. Ordinarily, I would say it's kind of risky because you don't want to antagonize the judge by filing a motion to remove her from the case, because if you lose, she's going to hold it against you. Good judges won't, and they don't. They understand that's part of the process. But she can't get any more antagonistic, Steph, to Jack Smith or his positions. So you have to file the motion and litigate it in the full light of day and let the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals say, no, all of this nonsensical, rambling from Judge Cannon is just fine. I think the 11th Circuit is embarrassed of her. They've reversed her twice for abusing her discretion in favor of Donald Trump. I think they will remove her.
Yeah, that's we just played Ty Cobb. Trump's lawyer said the same thing. This is what I just was reading this one analysis that the headline seems like it was a loss for Trump. When you look underneath, there's actually it was a pretty significant victory. So his claim is that the classified documents are personal. He could somehow magically make these highly classified documents his own. That's not what the law says. That's just ludicrous. So instead of the judge saying, okay, of course that's ludicrous, she just said, I'm just not deciding that pre-trial. I might let that happen during the trial, and that's what I'll decide in the midst of the trial. Right, and so then you say it's too late, it's not appealable. If she ruled now, these could be his personal documents, then Jack Smith can appeal that and have the 11th Circuit reverse her. So what you're saying is he can go to the 11th Circuit now, even without, I mean, I guess I'm confused what
he can. So
okay.
There are different kinds of appeals. There's an appeal of a judge's final order, which prosecutors can do sometimes, but everybody needs to remember that most of the appeals rights live with the defendant. Defendants are the ones who get to appeal things. Prosecutors only get to appeal very few things. But if she made a bad ruling prior to trial, the prosecutors could appeal that. But then they can also file what's called a petition for a writ of mandamus,
right,
which is when you go to a higher court, an appellate court, and you ask the appellate court to direct the trial court judge to do her job in accordance with the law. It's not often used, but it can be used when the judge is doing something, even if it's short of a final order, that we have real heartburn with as prosecutors.
Well, one analyst said this is the first time in such sharp language she's really showing a bias or prejudice against him. So that might be obviously the reason he would. What time frame would he do that on if he's going to go to the 11th Circuit?
I think he's been waiting for, as I say, the sort of disqualification bucket to fill up with evidence. I do think it's overflowing now. So, ordinarily there are usually time limits and deadlines set on the filing of motions, but this is one where it's a present day concern, because think about it. If the judge if as of today, the judge hasn't done enough to make herself subject to a challenge, but tomorrow she does, well then tomorrow or the next day is the time to file a motion. So it's kind of a present day issue that evolves as the evidence of her lack of impartiality evolves.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.